please tell me you're sensing the vibe here. Also with the hair, please tell me you're sensing the vibe. Even though I didn't make my hair this way for this video, it was just coincidence that I was starting it today. Anyways, hello, welcome back to my channel, you guys. I don't like that lighting. We're gonna move. Hello, my fellow book lovers. If you did not read the title of the video, I don't know what to tell you because I don't know why you would have clicked on it if you didn't read it. But if you didn't read the title of the video, we are clearly, well, not clearly, I'm gonna tell you, we are reading only Disney retellings. I hate myself. I'm so sorry. I literally don't know why I don't know how to start a video. How come I don't know how to start a video? I've been doing this for years. Yes, we are only going to be reading Disney retellings for the week. I hope you're as excited as I am. And the reason we're doing this video, because when you see this video, I will actually be in Disney World. Yes, so me and my husband, we are going to Disney in May, actually. I'm filming this actually mid-April because of my school schedule. It's like really hard for me to film, read, and edit videos with the way my school schedule is for now. And we are actually going to Disney literally the day after my semester ends. Like literally I take my final exam on the 10th and we will be going to Disney the 11th. This video will be going up while we're in Disney, I think. That's why we're doing this video. It's to one, get me all amped up, as if I'm not already amped up for Disney. I am a Disney queen. I love going to Disney. I wouldn't say I'm a Disney adult, but I'm halfway there. I am halfway there. I've been 3 times, I think, in the last 3 years. Which isn't a lot, actually, compared to some people. And I don't live that far from Disney, so it's really not that weird. Anyways, let me just get started with this video. Why am I rambling? I actually already picked out all the books for this video, but they will be surprises to you as we're reading them, okay? The first book that we are reading, which is the physical book, and this one is very much outside of my comfort zone, very much a type of book I have never read before, because it is a dark romance retelling, and that is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I have heard very good things about it from multiple different people. The dark romance element is something I have never experienced, nor have I ever read before, so I'm a little scared. Allie Good, I think her last name is? Allie on YouTube. I don't know if you guys know. You probably know who she is. I think her last name is Good. I don't know why I'm blanking on her name right now. I watch her videos all the time. She read this book in one of her videos, and she said that it was just like a lot of stuff that she was not expecting, so I am kind of in the same boat. But then another girl I watch on YouTube, Alexa, I can't remember how to say her last name. Is it Ray? I think it's something else. Anyways, she loves this series because it is an entire series of Disney retellings, essentially dark Disney romance retellings. I decided to read this one first because, first of all, Peter Pan, my favorite Disney classic movie. I'm obsessed. I don't know what it is. I used to be like obsessed with all things Peter Pan, so I figured this obviously has to be our first read. Peter Pan retelling, okay? Don't know anything about this. I know nothing, and I am going into this blind. I am going into it blind. I haven't decided on the second book. Like, I have the 2 books picked out, but I don't know which one I'm gonna read first. One of them I wanna say is definitely more of a fantasy-esque retelling, like definitely more fantasy oriented, while the other one seems like it's more of just like an actual romance novel that's just a retelling in it. I might switch it up, keep the light one for last, because especially if it's like just a lighthearted romance of a Disney retelling, that might just be easier for me to digest at the end of everything. So yeah, I haven't decided yet. I've rambled for too long. Let's just get into her. Yeah. I feel like, because there's a playlist, that this should just set the mood. I don't know. I feel like that's not an accurate representation of what this book is gonna be. I also love this dedication for anyone who has been the villain in someone else's story. The author's note. I really thought I was going into this just to read, but here I am. The author's note says, Hooked is a dark contemporary romance. It is an adult, fractured fairy tale. It is not a fantasy or a retelling. Oh. Anyways, the main character is a villain. If you're looking for a safe read with redemption and a bad guy turned into a hero, you will not find it in these pages. That's some tea right there. Hooked contains sexually explicit scenes as well as mature and graphic content that is not suitable for all audiences. Reader discretion is advised. I prefer for you to go in blind, but if you would like a list of detailed triggers, you can find them on emilymcintyre.com. I would much prefer to go in blind as well. that was an interesting prologue. Very much not what I expected. I mean, this is a dark romance. So, sorry for Bailey. Already interesting. I'm literally only on page 8. And I'm like, oh wow, this is already interesting. Okay, you guys, a quick update from yesterday. Last night, because I haven't read anything else today, I had work and stuff like that. Yesterday, I got to page 97. I got up to chapter 16, I think. Yeah, chapter 16 and hooked. Guys, it is so good. Like, I was not expecting to like this the way that I do. I think because I'm still so like fresh into the book, like it's not like too dark yet. There are some things that have been said though that I'm like, oh, this was not what I was expecting. I am probably like 20-ish% in the way into the book. So I'm very still like fresh into it, okay? So like I still got like way more ahead of me. It's really good so far. I am really, really liking it. You get both characters' POVs and you get like insight to both of them. So I'm like, okay, like I can get behind this and I can kind of see where it's gonna go. And I'm just really wondering if like this is really gonna like be, I don't, because I've never read a dark romance before, so I want to see like, is this going to be like a traditional dark romance where in my brain where I think it's a dark romance, they're not going to end up together, you know what I mean? Or if it's going to end up like in a traditional romance sense of like, oh, he's like this villainy guy in this dark romance, then it's going to kind of have this more romantic style ending, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like I get those vibes, but at the same time I am a romance girly, so I don't know, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I think I'm gonna really like this like throughout, so I guess we'll see what happens and what goes on. Like it's weird. I don't know what else to say, because like my first initial thoughts, I'm sorry, I keep blabbering. My first initial thoughts on this were like, the only reason this is okay is because I know it's fiction. And like the reason, like the way he acts is fine is because I know it's not real. Whereas like in real life, if I was Wendy and he came up to me and he was like this, because I'm a really, like I can be like, well, okay, I am scary. Let's just say that. All right, I am scary, but I feel like if there was someone who did intimidate me, would be very obviously easily intimidated, and I don't know if I would be able to, I don't know, it's like weird because like, I don't know what I'm saying. If a man like came up to me and did this in real life, I would not be into it, like the way that she is, you know what I mean? I would not be into it. I think I'd be kind of scared. I might read a little bit tonight. I don't know. I haven't really had the opportunity to read tonight or read today at all. And now I have to go out. I got plans. So we'll see. Well, an update with this book. It took a turn. Bless you. It took a turn that I was simply not expecting. Like a crazy turn, like right in the middle of the book where I was thinking like something like that was not going to happen until the last like maybe 15% of the book. But no, like literally it took a wild turn. I'm now on page 234, chapter 36. I'm actually really enjoying this. I feel like, I don't know, maybe my impression or like expectation of a dark romance was a lot different than what this is, because to me, like, yes, this is dark, but I don't think this is as dark as I expected a dark romance to be. Like, yes, it's kind of crazy and like things that are going on are wild and just not normal in any capacity. Just not as crazy or not as dark as I thought a dark romance was gonna be. I'm not disappointed either way, you know? Like, I'm not disappointed in the slightest. I really like it so far. I guess we'll kind of see how the rest of the book goes, because I don't have that much left. I have about, I want to say a little bit less than 25% of the book left. I guess we'll see what I think. I actually ended up finishing this book yesterday, and I'm actually really sorry if you can hear that my dryer is going in the background. I finished reading this, and I think the last update I said was that about like halfway through the book, dramatic turn happened. And honestly, honestly. I kind of knew like the plot twist. Like it was just a very obvious plot twist to me personally. Like it was very like breadcrumby that was like, oh, well, obviously like this is what's gonna happen with that, while being super vague, obviously. The ending of like what actually, like the thing that did actually surprise me was in the very end of the book. And I was like, oh wow, that I was not expecting. Not in the slightest. So yeah, that happened. I'm being very vague and I know, but it's like, this is obviously like this is a dark romance, obviously, so like things were gonna take a different turn. But yeah, I don't know, I ended up really liking it. Obviously I don't know where I'm going with this, with my thoughts, what I'm saying, but I ended up really liking it. The ending really did end up surprising me. Can for sure say that I'm going to probably continue this series because, well, first of all, this could be just like very mild dark romance, this particular book. I've heard that some of the other ones in this series are quite dark, like way darker than this one. I guess we'll see. Because like I said, I feel like this is very mild dark romance. Like yes, it has very dark elements and very dark, necessarily kind of dark things talked about, like murder and abduction and, you know, like torturing people, things like that. Like they are in the book, but it's not as like gruesome or as graphic as I thought it was going to be. And it wasn't like so intense, if that makes sense. I just feel like it wasn't as intense as like I thought it was going to be, or like how other people had made it out to be. But anyways, yes, I ended up really liking this book. So I think this was like the perfect one to start off with, because the first retelling I ever read, I didn't really like. Granted, this one is not a retelling, but literally like every element that she could have gotten from like the original Disney film, she used within this book. It's no surprise that James and Barry, who is the author of the original Peter Pan, you know, is the main character basically in this book. There's Wendy, Peter, who is Wendy's father, and then there's John, who is Wendy's brother. Smee is used. Tinkerbell, basically, it's just like a different name for her, but like Tinkerbell, basically Peter's assistant. And yeah, like literally any element that she could have thrown in there that it was like kind of like a big deal in the original was put in here. So like I would say that qualifies as like, I don't know, not a retelling, but you know, like anyways, I don't know where I'm going with this. Either way, I really like this. I'm gonna save like more of my actual thoughts and rating until the very end, so stay tuned. But anyways, yes, I'm very excited. I get to put this on the books that I have read for the month. The next book I'm gonna read is actually let me pop up my Kindle so that I can actually load it up on here. The Entangled with Fae series. And the book that I'm actually reading in that series is The Heart of the Raven Prince, and that is a Cinderella retelling, which I'm super excited because I've heard great things about that book. This is the second one technically in the Entangled with Fae series. I don't think they're connected at all, and if they are, they're interconnected standalones. But like I said, I had already read a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I kind of just want to give myself something different that I haven't read before in a retelling, so I would love to read a Cinderella retelling, especially since obviously it's Cinderella's castle when I go to Disney. Love that. But yeah, I do actually have to go to work soon, so I don't even think I'll have time to start Heart of the Raven Prince, but I will start it later tonight and I will update you once I do. If you hear chewing, chomping, it's Bailey. She's chomping on her toy. But anyways, I got home not that long ago. I ate dinner and I put on a hockey game for me to watch like in the background of while I'm reading. I'm about to start The Heart of a Raven Prince? Is that what it's called? Heart of the Raven Prince. Yes. Heart of the Raven Prince. First though, like that is cute. That's actually really good for like Kindle like map. I actually don't know the characters' names at all, so I'm going in this extremely blind. The only thing that I know is that it's a Cinderella retelling. I guess we will see. Hello you guys, it's early in the morning. Well, not that early, it's 7 o'clock. But I just woke up and I wanted to update you before I went downstairs to read this morning. But I got to page 50 last night. It's actually going pretty well so far. I'm enjoying it. It's kind of weird to like see because like this is very fantasy-esque. like compared to like what I thought it was gonna be. Like I knew it was gonna be more fantasy, but it's very much like fantasy driven, or like the world is very fantasy. It's not like just like this typical retelling, you know what I mean, with like a magic system and or like with like magic and stuff like that, kind of like in the original Cinderella story. This one's very much like fantasy, where there's like mythical creatures and there's fae and then there's humans and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going really well. I actually kind of like it. It's very similar to other like fantasies so far, where it's like this enemies to lovers in a sense. Right now they're kind of just like enemies. But anyways, I just wanted to update you really quick on this before I read this morning. I got to page 50. I guess update you some more later. You guys, I'm stunned. I am stunned how much I'm loving this book, okay? How far am I into it? I'm 62% of the way through The Heart of the Raven Prince. Let me just tell you, I haven't been this addicted to a book in so long. Like I literally like there's been other books that I've like really loved and like really enjoyed my time reading, but I wouldn't necessarily say I was like addicted to reading them, where like all of my outside thoughts aside from oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I look so weird. Like you know how you get when you get addicted to a book? Like want to do nothing but read that book. That's what is happening with this right now. I haven't felt that in so long. Now, do I think this is gonna be like a 5-star read for me? No, I don't think so, but I am highly enjoying it, and I can say for sure that I already know I'm gonna want to read the rest of the series. Like without a doubt, like I'm gonna have to start from the first one, where I feel like a lot of like essentially like the magic system and probably some of the past events that are talked about in this book are probably in that first one, which would help a little bit, be like a little bit more clarifying, things like that, because you do meet Princess Maisie in this book, and she's the main character in the third installment of this series. But I'm pretty sure, like I said, they can be all read as standalones. Well, yeah, because this one I'm reading and I'm having no issue comprehending it, aside from the fact that like maybe there's like a little bit more detail from the other books. I haven't been this addicted to a book in so long. If I'm not reading it, I'm thinking about reading it, and I'm thinking about the characters in the book. Like that's how, like, and I am so giddy, like laughing, because it's kind of like this, it's definitely more of this like enemies to lovers vibes, you know what I mean? The vibes are impeccable. The chemistry, impeccable, okay? Let me just tell you that right now. This is very good, and it's definitely way more fantasy than I thought it was going to be. Like I definitely thought it was going to have like fantasy elements, but be more of like human realm based in a sense. But nope, I would say like it's a very like, it's not like a complicated fantasy world either, but it's a nice little fantasy that doesn't like take too much brain power, because it's already, you know, it's a story that you already know, so like it doesn't take too much brain power to like really like get involved into the world and like know what's going on. Like all of it's like pretty normal, and I kind of love that. So anyways, that's my update, that I am 62% of the way through this, and I'm absolutely loving it. Like I just cannot put it down. Like literally me, just like any chance I get, like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go read, like I'm gonna have to buy like physical copies or something. Like I am very happy. I'm very excited to finish this book. So far, so good. I am loving it. Loving it. That was cringy. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. But I am loving this. I'm loving it. I'll see you back here for another update later. Okay, a really quick note. I feel like such a professional girly now because I bought myself a big tripod, and oh my god, like I feel like such a professional girly with all these big angles and like this giant tripod that I now have. Anyways, last night I finished The Heart of the Raven Prince. Oh my god, let me tell you, this book, chef's kiss, so freaking good. So good. Like, why did this book take me by surprise? Like, how come I was not expecting that out of this book? The love story, the banter, the scheming, all of it. so freaking good. Okay, this, I haven't been, like I said earlier, I hadn't been addicted to a book the way I was addicted to reading this in so freaking long. Like, I've definitely enjoyed, like very much enjoyed all the other books that I've read, especially in the past recent months, but like never addicted to like wanting to read one book. Like, I haven't had that feeling of like never wanting to put it down and then being like finding any excuse I could to pick it back up. Like, even if I had plans or even if I was busy, I was like, oh no, like I want to read, and I wanted to read this book. Like, it was just that. Isn't that crazy? Crazy. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say on it. I really, really loved it. I'll be back at the end, obviously, for my final thoughts, but I very, very much love this. I do actually highly recommend that. So if you are looking for like a Disney retelling, like right now, like in this very moment, pick up this one. I absolutely loved this one. It was just so good. Like, I just cannot believe it. And then she has so many more books in this series, and then she also has a prequel series to this one, and then she apparently has a prequel short story to the prequel series, and then she has another series in this universe. So many books to read within this universe, which is awesome. But I absolutely loved these two characters too, so I'm a little sad that I won't be reading about them anymore. But apparently, well, not apparently, I know this for a fact because it's stated that Franco, the main character in this book, he's in that prequel series where he's introduced, and then Ember, who's the main character in this book, she is in the first book of this Entangled with Fae series. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. The next book I'm actually going to read is a Rapunzel slash like Tangled retelling, which I'm super excited about because I've actually haven't seen a Rapunzel or Tangled or anything like that type of retelling in any popular book series that I've read or like looked into. But this is just a modern Rapunzel retelling, and it's called Lightkeepers. I think this is just almost like a normal romance, like that just so happens to a retelling of Rapunzel, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm gonna read that one. I'm not gonna start it today, I don't think. I think I'm gonna start it maybe tomorrow because I have so much work that I need to do, so I need to kind of get on that. But this book is very, very short. I should be able to get through it quickly when I do start it. But anyways, light keeping. So yes, very, very excited. Very excited. Anyways, I'll check back in with you when I'm actually reading. Of course, she's gonna start chewing on her toy as I start this clip. I am about to start the Rapunzel retelling. I'm actually really excited because I haven't seen a Rapunzel retelling. I think I also said that earlier. I can't remember. Maybe I thought about saying it. I don't know. But I actually just put on Rapunzel. It's called Tangled. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, I just put Tangled on to have on in the background. This book is actually pretty short. I think it's like less than 300 pages. It's 245 pages. So I'm probably gonna get this done so quickly, but yeah, I'm gonna start reading this and then I'll update you later. Hello. I was actually in the middle of editing this video and I realized that I never finished it. I never updated you on my final thoughts or anything like that. Yeah, so I'm here to finish that for you guys really quick. Let's first start off with the first book I read, which was Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I really ended up enjoying this one. Like, this one I felt like had a lot of like plot twists. I don't want to say plot twists, but more of like plot twisty things within it that like made it super interesting for me to want to continue and keep reading. Also, it wasn't as dark as I thought it was gonna be. I think I had mentioned this earlier. The dark romance element, I feel like this is like a very like mild dark romance, if you catch my drift. This dark romance it had very much like dark themes, dark elements to it, but like it wasn't like unbearable to read or like super hard to read with those dark elements. So yeah, I guess that's kind of like a perk. So like if you're someone who doesn't know if you like dark romance or if you've never read it before, I would recommend starting with this one. I think the more you get into this series though, the darker they get. So I would highly recommend starting with this one, especially if you've never read anything dark romance before. Overall in general, I really did like it and I really enjoyed my time reading this. I think I ended up rating this one a 4.25 stars. I absolutely loved it. Basically, like anything that she could include from the original Peter Pan, she did. Like, she may have changed some names or something like that, but literally like to a T, like if she could include it in this story, she did. And honestly, I really, really liked that element of it. I also really liked, in the end, like James wasn't necessarily this like god-awful person. He was kind of like made to be that way. I feel like if it was a person who was always that way, I would find it difficult to like them as a character. The prologue kind of like shows it a little bit, and then in the back end of the story, you kind of get
get more character description. What was it? Character profiles. You get some character profiles on both James and Wendy, kind of like how the story wrapped up and why things progressed the way that they did. But overall, like I said, I really enjoyed this one. 4.25 stars. Absolutely loved it. The next book I read was The Heart of the Raven Prince. I definitely said this in the video. I remember saying it. I was obsessed. I was addicted to this series, okay? At first, I was kind of unsure about it, but then as I got into it, I just got so addicted to it. I think I rated this one a 4.5 stars, a 4.75. I love this book. I still think about it sometimes, and I'm definitely going to read more in the series. Like, I'm gonna continue reading this series. Like I said, I absolutely loved it. There was really nothing I didn't like about it. I really liked both of the character developments, and I loved the twist that she kind of put on Prince Franco, who is supposed to be Prince Charming in a sense. Part of the story is that he doesn't know who she is, essentially, and he doesn't know what she looks like or anything like that. Obviously, like, she's worried, like, once he finds out that he's not gonna want to like her anymore, type of thing. And the twist, it wasn't really a twist, or the character development that she put within Franco, I absolutely loved. And I think that's just like part of like what made this like story for me so giddy and like happy. I don't know, I just absolutely loved this book. I was so addicted to it. I could not stop reading. I was reading it any chance I got. And I know I mentioned this before, but I'm gonna say it again, that like the fantasy, I didn't think that this book was gonna be super fantasy heavy, but it was actually way more fantasy based than I thought it was. But it was like an easy fantasy to understand. Like, it was a story that you already know, not a complicated world to understand, and I actually really liked that. I at first was like, oh, I don't know how I'll feel about this, but no, I absolutely loved that about this book, that the fantasy world just like it just made it so much better than it being just like this classic retelling of a fairy tale. You know what I mean? Like the fantasy elements and like the way that the fae were and like what their abilities were and like how they evolved into fae. I absolutely loved that part of the story to like kind of see, because you can be like a half fae and stuff like that. I just loved it. I honestly could rave about this book. Like, this is one of my newest like books I am recommending to everybody. I'm like, oh, if you are kind of trying to get into fantasy and you don't know like what you'll like yet, I highly recommend this series, The Entangled Fae, because it's a story that you already know, and the concept of the fantasy world is so easy to understand, especially when it's a story, like I said, that you do know. You don't have to put so much brain power into understanding these characters and understanding this world. So yes, I loved Heart of the Raven Prince. Okay, I loved it. I cannot shut up about it. Loved it so much. I feel like there's something else I wanted to say about it, but I don't remember. Anyways, and then the last book that I read for this video was Lightkeepers, and that is a Tangled retelling. Totally honest, this was like literally a play-by-play of the movie Tangled in a more modern world. The characters were a bit younger too. They were both in high school. Essentially, the main portion of the book takes place over one night, but to kind of get a little bit more background on both of the characters, there's a few other days that are like mentioned and stuff like that, but basically the whole like heart of the story is one night. It was a bit insta-lovey. You know, it's a modern Tangled retelling. Like, there wasn't much I feel like she could do about it not being insta-lovey, especially since like the way the plot had to move for it to be a modern Tangled retelling, if that makes sense. So yeah, but I did actually end up really enjoying this one. I really liked the male main character, Ryder. He was very Flynn Rider-esque, and Zella, who obviously is Rapunzel, she felt like the perfect like depiction of her for what her background was, because her backstory was actually way darker than what I thought it was gonna be. And like I said, I didn't update you at all while I was reading it, so like I was having these thoughts while reading it and was like actually genuinely surprised, because I was like, oh my god, like her backstory was so much darker than what you would have thought, and it was like, oh, you know what I mean? The author threw in a little bit of a twist at the end with both of the characters, which I actually really liked. It gave definitely a different ending to a story you already knew, especially once you're reading it. You kind of already know that it is a play-by-play of Rapunzel. Like, that's just it, you know what I mean? Like, so it was to a T the same thing, just in a different modern way, different, you know, experiences that they had. It wasn't like the same, like she wanted to go see this one thing type of thing. It was very much much more modern, very much more like younger audience geared towards, and I did end up really liking it. I thought it was fun. It was a short read. I think it was less than 300 pages. I think I only ended up giving it a 3 stars though, which, like I said, it's because I already knew the story. It was like an exact play-by-play. There wasn't like much to surprise me, but like I said, the ending was surprising and I really did like that, the little twist that she put in there. So I do recommend it if you are looking for more of like a simpler read, but it wouldn't be my first choice out of all of the books that I read in this video. But anyways, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that you liked it. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias as well as subscribing to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.